The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Media Mash, a roundtable of Cowboys insiders dropping wisdom and offering sizzling takes on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys. Now, your host, Newy Scruggs.
Hey, everybody, here we go. Media Mash on a Wednesday right here at the Star in Frisco. Jacques Taylor is in the house. Joe Hoyt is here in the house. Clarence Hill is in the house. So good to see you, dog. I'm Newy Scruggs. As we talk about the Dallas Cowboys getting ready to face the Philadelphia Eagles here, locker room was just open today. Joe Hoyt, Micah Parsons talked, and he practiced. Go hit me.
Yeah, he practiced today, and I think the big question with Micah Parsons is how quickly can he get that explosiveness back? And I think he even admitted today, maybe probably should have went on IR knowing how long this was going to take. It took longer than he even expected, but he practiced today. Got a pitch count, and now it's just a question of how explosive can he be come Sunday if he plays.
All right, Jacques Taylor, 6 weeks. He's coming back from a high ankle sprain. What should we realistically expect from Mr. Parsons if he plays
Just to
Sunday?
be better than what you had out there. But, I wouldn't expect him to be running around, making plays, getting 3 sacks, harassing the quarterbacks. Because not only is it getting his body right, he got to figure out to carry his pads again. And then how about this? Just regular old rust because he ain't played football in 6 weeks.
In the conversation with him, sir, what did you take away?
He talked about the rust, and he said if he goes, he's going. There won't be no limit. That's him. Of course, that's him talking. I'm going to be out there the whole time. Said he's running full speed. It's just a matter of getting the timing and everything down, and he did not expect it to be this long. Yeah, he talked about, it would have been shorter. He's kind of, he's frustrated that he was waiting to get back, and now he's back. Dak Prescott's gone. That's frustration, but he has full belief in Cooper Rush. He said we won game with Cooper Rush, and we can go on a run with Cooper Rush. He was, he remembers Cooper Rush going 4-1 without Dak Prescott. He said we played, and they had a tough schedule. They beat the likes of the Cincinnati Bengals, during that time. So, of course, it's a different team, different season, different defense, but he holds out hope and belief that they can get it done. Another thing he said was, he talked about the Cowboys not giving up and him believing in Jerry not giving them. That's kind of where he kind of
drank the blue Kool-Aid.
Definitely drank the blue Kool-Aid. I'm glad you said it because he said, well, Jerry cares about winning and he cares about this team and it's not about just making money. He cares about us. I'm like, huh?
Where'd that come from? That was in the team notes today? Hey, make sure you mention this.
Come from a man who won a new contract.
He wasn't
$30 million a year. That's where that comes from, right?
And it's
trying to get paid.
And it's funny because we talked to him at the podium. And then went to his locker and we talked to him about 20, 30 more minutes in the locker room. Just talking about life, talking about his kids, talking about Penn State and why they don't have any offense. And he was just available. And the first thing he did, I just want to let the record show, and you was there. You ready to go on my podcast? First thing he said when he walked up. So I'm waiting on the call.
I wait on the check first.
Let's reset this. Monumental moment. So,
the most trusted beat writer did.
Yes, you understand what Clarence is saying. Micah has his own podcast, and I'll let you take it from there, sir.
Well, it's already been said. It's already been written. He said, he talked last couple of weeks ago about possibly getting the media member on, and somebody suggested Mike Leslie. And Mike Leslie suggested it won't be me, and Micah Parsons responded, no, I'm thinking about Clarence Hill. He's a funny guy with a TV personality.
No, he said he could be. He said he's ready. He wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he said, no, Micah wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
And thus to explain to fans about the role of the media in working and dealing with players.
That's a great topic these days because I literally just listened to former NBA star Gilbert Arenas talk about some stuff, and I was just like, you just clueless on how it
he's
works.
an idiot, first of all.
But
he's an idiot on basketball
his
and
point,
life.
I understood his point where he said, if you're not in practice, how do you know? He was talking about Kevin Durant. How do you know if a player's a leader if you're not in practice or you're not in the leader room? And it's like, well, you watch the games, you talk to teammates, you talk to coaches. How about you talk to the
we
player?
talk about practice.
Well, the problem with the leadership thing is it's so subjective. It's just like chemistry, And what is chemistry?
It is.
You can have leaders on losing teams. The problem is, people think you only have leaders on teams that win championships. They're leaders on losing teams, but we don't call them leaders.
Dak Prescott is one.
Right, but they don't get respected as a leader in that way. So, and that's his only point is how can you talk about Kevin Durant's leadership when you haven't seen it? All you've seen is results and saying, well, they haven't won, so he's not a good leader, which is not true and not fair either.
No, but you can talk to people and get examples of leadership that you can use. And that's the problem. Most people don't, they just make blanket statements. They don't provide examples and tangible evidence of you being a good leader
or
you're not a good
right.
leader. And that's all that's required is tangible evidence and examples of this or that.
Right. And again, that's tangible evidence to you and that person, and it may not be tangible evidence. I mean, it's still all subjective on how a person looks at it.
And there's different types of media. I mean, Clarence and I and everyone here is here every single day, but, James Jones isn't, for example. So that's not going to stop them from talking about it, though.
When you talk about just the whole, go back before we go to James Jones, just the leadership, what so many fans, I think, don't understand is there's different levels of leadership.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I covered Jimmy's last team, the leadership, when you were down there at St. Edwards, the leadership that Michael Irvin was showing on the football field was different than the leadership that Troy Aikman was showing, and different than the leadership of Charles Haley. I remember the Super Bowl 27. If you ever watched the NFL Films video, the Cowboys got behind against the Bills. And it was Charles Haley over there stepping in to help Butch Davis, saying, hey, look, guy, Butch is just trying to calm us down here. And, Charles, we all know Charles could be a Charles, but he had a leadership quality about it. You don't get 5 rings without having
he had a huge leadership quality.
And that comes a thing of it goes in so many different ways about what leaders are. When I covered the Rangers, and Michael Young was the leader of the team, and then later on Adrian Beltre, and Josh Hamilton was the best player,
but he wasn't the leader.
But he wasn't the leader.
Well, it is like the Dion. I remember back in the day, and I don't think he's a great player. He's a me person. He does, but Dion was leader. I mean, you look at Kevin Mathis and Omar Stoudemire, guys he took under his wings, who Kevin Mathis is still, like a Pied Piper by his side.
He's a secondary coach at Colorado right now.
but he took those young guys and he taught them life, he taught them the game, and they're still with him. But I would tell you back in the day, no one would say, well, Dion's a great leader. He just goes to baseball, he comes back and does his own thing. That's not true.
Right. And that's the other thing about leadership. It comes in a lot of different areas, and I don't know specifically what the leadership things are pointed at Kevin Durant, but I know Kevin had responded to Stephen A. Smith, and that's another interesting thing where guys follow themselves going into the manhole on what some of these shows and things say to them. But it comes in so many different ways, and it's just a matter of how you see it.
I'm going to give you a quick example about Dak Prescott. I was working on a piece, this was probably 2 years ago, and I was asking Dak something about his rookie year. And he was telling me about a play. And somebody missed a block, and he got hit, and he threw it, and I said, well, who missed the block? Oh, I can't tell you that, dog. Now, this was only a couple years ago, and we talking about a play from his rookie year.
Right.
And so I asked somebody else. He said, I was asking Zeke about the play. And Zeke goes, oh, that was me. I missed the block. So I went back up to Dak. I said, really, dog, you coming up for Zeke for 6 years later? He's like, that's my guy. I'm not going to tell you. Now, he could tell you, but I'm not going to. That's leadership. 6 years later, he's still keeping his secrets. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and it comes in different ways, especially from a quarterback.
Yeah.
The quarterbacks are asked to do a little bit more. It comes with the job, or as Jason Garrett used to say, it comes with the meal.
Right.
And Troy, I remember he used to tell people, covering Troy Aikman was not fun because he gave the most boring sound bites. You guys were there for it. I mean, it's like, he was, Troy's talking. Okay, you just stuck it in. You stuck your microphone in, but it was never a soundbite that you were going to use that night, unless you, we just heard from the quarterback. He was never going to give you anything at all. All right, making the rounds on social media yesterday was the FS1 show. I don't know the name of it, but former Green Bay wide receiver James Jones said Dak Prescott quit on the Cowboys when he left with a hamstring injury, and then James decided to go talk about how he had a hamstring injury, so therefore he understands hamstring injuries, and therefore Dak Prescott, because James had a hamstring, is out there lying and stealing.
Now, what's the first rule of reporting on injuries, dog? Every injury is unique. I mean, that's like reporting 101. You had a hamstring, I had a hamstring. One kept you out 4 weeks, one kept me out 2 weeks. Because everybody's body's different. Everybody responds differently. There's different grades and degrees of hamstring injuries. And that was one of the dumbest things I've heard recently.
It's dumb, and it's part of the course of that show with Shady McCoy and what they do, because no one watches it, so they say things and they put it on social media. Because no one
saw it today.
No one saw it live.
Yeah, we saw it today. Another thing.
Yeah,
Shady had another thing to
say.
say.
They just say things
about Dak.
And the thing with Dak is it's one thing for your receiver to run routes, I guess, with a bad hamstring, but it's nothing to play quarterback. And if you watch Dak play, it was preventing him from throwing the football. It was preventing him from doing the things he needed to do to play quarterback. And the trainers took him out. and told him, you can't play. You're going to make it worse. And you watch him throw. Watch the throws. The last few throws he made with the hamstring. He cannot play the game. It wasn't an issue of him quitting. Just watch the game. It's funny. We talked to Mike a couple of times, and the one of the throws that ball got batted down, the screen pass to Jake Ferguson. If you looked at the play, it was a walk-in touchdown. But Dak couldn't get nothing on the ball because of the hamstring. And that was his last play. So the idea that you're going to say he quit on the team, a guy who has played through injuries, a guy who's come back from a fractured ankle, a guy who's been nothing but who didn't miss a game through the first 4 seasons of his career, the audacity to can't claim he quit on his team it's ignorant.
And this is kind of a good segue from the last topic we had too, because one thing, if you talk to any player here at the Cowboys, Dak Prescott is the eternal optimist in terms of being a leader, right? He's the guy in that huddle that says, hey, I know we're down 21-0, but I still think we're going to win this game. Every player that's in that huddle will tell you that. So the last thing you can say about Dak Prescott is that he quit on a team, frankly, because especially when in terms of this situation, because the guy is the eternal optimist. The one thing about him you can't say is that he's a quitter. And
it wasn't a 3-touchdown lead. I mean, it was still it was still a game. So
yeah,
the idea that he quit. I mean, you weren't at that point in the season or the game where he should be giving up any kind of hope. It was just stupid.
Did Mike McCarthy or any players address it at all? Was it even asked to any of the players?
No.
To be honest with you, I even thought about asking at some point, but even objectively,
you don't want to give legitimacy to BS.
I was going to say the notion of it was ridiculous.
I don't know how many players saw it. I mean, I don't think the players looking at social media because, again, no one's watching that show. No one look at the ratings. No one's watching that show, and the only time it gets traction is when they put it on social media and we react to it, and then it gets traction.
You are correct. You are correct about that, and it's not. I don't watch the show. I've stopped watching debate shows.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
We all have covered the Cowboys, and when we watch it, we know when it's manufactured.
Well said.
Because we do this. This is what we do. We know. Oh, okay. They're trying to take something. Mike Hill used to work with me over at Channel 5, and then Mike went up to ESPN. It might have been 3 days later on NFL Live. They brought up something on ESPN. I said, Mike, this story's like 3 days old, and it's not what you guys think. He said, I know, man, but they want Cowboys in every show. Every show. So that's when I started, okay, this is the gig.
Yeah.
This is the gig. And that's what they do. And when you talk about that, a part of the gig for Shady McCoy is I'm going to beat up Dak Prescott.
Right.
And James Jones is now joined into that. It was like when Skip Bayless was over there, I'm going to jump on LeBron James. You didn't win a championship. Kyrie had to save you. It's the shtick. It's the shtick, man.
Yeah. That's what it is, and that's why you can't legitimize it. We've given it too much energy as it is.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break here. Ezekiel Elliott missed a game. What's the status? Mike McCarthy talked about it a little bit today, but what are they saying in the locker room? Let's talk about that next right here on the Media Mash on DallasCowboys.com.
Drawback finds Pearson. It's caught. Touchdown.
The Dallas Morning News delivers full press coverage of the Cowboys.
Aikman straight drop, throws it over the middle. Irvin in for the touchdown, Cowboys.
We cover your Cowboys from the preseason to the postseason and beyond.
Boot to the right. Looking down the field. Lamb. Victory.
Game by game, play by play. No one delivers your Cowboys like the Dallas Morning News. Connect deeper to the Dallas Cowboys with the Dallas Morning News.
I'm Cowboys alumni Danny McCray, here with Smoothie King asking, what's that sound? That's the sound of me sipping one of their power-packed smoothies with over 10 grams of protein. With real fruits and organic veggies, because at Smoothie King, what you see is what you sip. So grab a delicious Smoothie King smoothie, throw a straw in your jaw, and get sipping real. Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. #Be your own boss.
Hey, Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, Crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry. Even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/Cowboys to get started.
Back to Media Mash.
Media Mash right here on DallasCowboys.com. We got Jock Taylor. Jock Taylor's working on a book he can't tell us, but it's going to be a big time.
That's a big one.
It's a big one.
It's a big one.
Yes.
It's bigger than the Prime book.
Bigger than the Deion Sanders book.
Bigger name than Prime.
Bigger name than Prime.
How about that?
Ooh-wee. Okay. Yeah. All right. There we go.
Appreciate that.
Joe Hoyt, All City Dallas. Clarence Hill, All City Dallas. I'm just merely Newy Scruggs here for the conversation. We teased it, so let's just dive into it. Ezekiel Elliott missed last week's game for disciplinary reasons. Mike McCarthy addressed it this week, saying he's back. Buckeye man, I'll start with you. Dissect it. Dissect it.
I mean, I'm not. I think the thing is I think Zeke's frustration stems from he was told he had a role, that role changed. I think now the question is whether they talked it out and hashed it out and had a conversation. Because you don't have to like your role, but most players want to know what my role is. And if it changed, can you at least tell me it changed? But I'm not sure why he's here. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't really have a role now. Rico Dowdle is better. Rico Dowdle is being used more as he should be, given his production. And if a guy is unhappy or he's not going to be happy, he becomes a distraction, even though he's a Buckeye. And I like him.
Right.
He's been one of my boys. I mean, why are you here?
Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that's been apparent from conversations with Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy, not Zeke, we waited from the locker room, wasn't there
Smart
today.
Smart on his part.
But apparent is that this was a one-game thing. Jerry Jones was asked about it. He said, yeah, he'll be back. It seems that it was a disciplinary thing. But I think also the key thing was they kept using the word mutual, that this was for him not to travel, that was a mutual decision. Now it's been resolved and everyone's happy.
That's a weird choice of words to be.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
There are two things at play, and I think none of this whole thing doesn't jive, for a guy who's been a consummate leader, sit at the front of the room, and you can say what you want about him.
Went to the quarterback meetings.
He went to quarterback meetings. Guy who, blocks like nobody's business, and just a team guy. Jared talked about again, him having fun and how he gives energy to the locker room and doing different things. It just doesn't drive. And to me, we know about the role, but if a guy's unhappy about his role and then he's late to meetings, it makes sense you cut it. Okay? The fact that they didn't cut him and they went out of their way to talk glowingly about him, something else is at work. When they talk about a mutual decision, number one, it's a mutual decision because you don't need Zeke on the sideline. You don't need him in the locker room answering questions about it after the game. Yep. So it's just not a good look for anybody.
And that was my next thing was if they said you're not playing and he's like, hey, you know what? Let me stay home because I don't want to sit around here in a shirt and a ball cap just on the side.
Yeah, because the camera's that's all they're going to talk about during the game. The camera's going to be on him, all the other stuff. But again, something else, because when I've talked to people and they said it was that, but it's something else that's been building. So we'll see, if the other shoe drops on what's going on. But they've shown patience. Talking to Dak, after the game, he said his words were, it was good for Zeke because he probably need to get himself together. It was, and come back.
This is not an easy thing, man, to be the guy and come back. Even if you understand what your role is, to come back and see Rico Dowdle taking care, seeing Deuce Vaughn in the game before you. That's not an easy thing.
Yeah. And this is, I was not on board with him bringing Ezekiel.
Me either. I wasn't for that very reason. And the fact that at this point in his career, he's not dynamic enough for you to want to deal with that. I mean, there's a reason why you said goodbye 2 years ago.
Right.
Well, that was money, number one. That probably was the money. It could
have been money, number one. Production had to be very close behind it, number two.
Yeah, money and production. They go hand in hand. That's why they moved on, because of the money and production. It just didn't match. And if you're going to make Tony Pollard the starter, you didn't need him to be here at that salary. Bringing him back was because he came back for cheap. And you needed a body because you didn't get one in the draft. I think if they had drafted a running back, he may not have been coming back. but they didn't draft one, and they need to get a body on the roster. And they talked themselves into thinking, oh, you see what he did in New England? Maybe he still has something else.
You just answered the question. They talked themselves into that.
Oh, no doubt.
And they talked themselves out of drafting one, too, because reminder, when did Zeke visit? The night before the draft.
Yikes! Yeah, so he's here for now. We'll see where it goes.
And Robert's gonna hit the road next week because Dalvin Cook is out of. This is the last week you can elevate him, and to the roster for a free practice squad elevation. You only get 3. You either have to sign him or cut him.
Right.
And so either Dalvin Cook's gonna be on the roster. I just can't see Dalvin Cook and Zeke being on the roster after next week.
So one of them should get cut next week.
Yeah, you got 2 guys who don't play special teams, and just the way you need your roster reconstructed, and the way you've had defensive bodies and the challenges. Yes, they'll need to go another area. There was a trade yesterday. Jonathan Mingo, 4th round pick. Overall, the Cowboys are getting panned. Not so much the player, but the compensation. If it's a 6th round pick for, then people are fine. But a 4th rounder, and this is an organization where your starting quarterback was a 4th round pick. The second of the 4th round picks you've had, Tony Pollard's a Pro Bowler, was a 4th round pick. Marion Barber, running back, you once took in the 4th round. They have hit on, for Brady James, they have hit on starters and Pro Bowl players in the 4th round. This year they didn't have a 4th round pick because they used it on Trey Lance.
Why are you paying full price for something you can get at the dollar bin? That's the only question. Why are you paying full price for something you could go through and pick through
it's clear.
And get it on a dollar bin? That's the only question.
Something you already have, too. I mean, if you look at his skill set comps from the draft perspective, the guy he's most similar to is Ryan Flournoy in the mock draftable database. So,
yes, but Rock Flournoy is a poor man's Mingo, more so than Mingo's a poor man.
I don't think we'll
not from a skill set standpoint, they're similar.
Again, from where they were in their career. Ryan Flournoy's 25, Mingo's 23.
Yeah.
Okay. Ryan Flournoy played at a lower level. Mingo played at a higher level. He's 6'2", 220. Mingo's bigger, but I understand what you're saying.
6'2", I mean,
220. So here, whether you agree with it or not, the reason they pay more because Mingo, has 2 years left on his contract, and so they have his control. He's 2 years. They got 2. He's basically gonna be paid $4 million over the next 2 years. That's one reason why they pay more, although you can say they could have talked Carolina into less. You pay more for guys who have years left on their contract. They didn't want a rental like some of the other receivers that have been drafted or traded.
Who have actually had real production.
Who have production.
That was my thing.
They go back to they went back to their draft profile of him and where they had him in the draft. He was a 30 visit. They liked him in the draft. I'm just telling you from their point of view, they like the player.
Now
they think his struggles in Carolina have more to do with Carolina. He caught 40. I mean, I know he only got 12 balls in 9 games this year, but he had 43 balls as a rookie, which is not bad, on a bad team. Right. So that's their understanding. They like the player. Can he be a future number 2 to CeeDee Lamb?
So, and I just throw this out here. This was just kind of my thought process. I hear what you're saying. Clarence, you're telling me this was the reasoning. You asked, and this was the reasoning that they gave you. Understood.
He ain't never told us that. He always give us his opinion.
Well, you've already gave the opinion, so I'm giving you their reasoning. You guys have already panned it and talk. We can talk all day about the conversation. I'm agreeing with you. I think they paid too much for him. Right. Now let's understand why they did, what their thought process.
All right.
Well, it's also a guy that they liked a lot from the draft process.
Yeah.
It's one thing Mike McCarthy talked about today. And to be honest, like if he would have slipped,
he ain't gonna be here to get him, to coach him.
Well, and that's the bigger issue. The last 2 4th-round picks they've traded are guys that have you try to develop for the future that might not be in your future plans.
Thank you. And the other thing is when you're talking about the 2025 draft, a 4th round pick for a team that, if this thing goes south, could be drafting top 15 and up. That has a lot more value to it than a guy who's got two years, only going to have 2 years of production.
They got like a dozen 5th round picks.
Yeah, apparently they looked at the draft and didn't think in the 4th round they could get a player. Again, 23 is still young. Their guys don't come out of this draft about that age. They're going to get a guy with his size profile at that point in the 4th round. So they looked at that. Also, they have 4 5th round picks in next year's draft, 3 comp picks that they can move up and get back into the 4th round. So they have capital to move back. They
powder's
have
dry,
4
dog.
5th round picks. So they can move up back into the 4th round if they need be and get a 4th round pick.
Speaking of the powder's dry, Donnie Nelson line for the Dallas Mavericks. Remember for a couple of years, and the Mavericks kept telling us we was going to get somebody, and there was always a reason in what they were doing. Remember last year we were told about Trey Lance, and we're probably going to take a quarterback in the 4th round anyway. That all of this to justify getting a player. And then when the 4th round came, boy, you really could have used that pick versus what you got out of the player. And that to me is just it's.
Of course, they could have picked a running back in the 3rd round. They chose to take the linebacker,
the guard.
And the guard.
And they took
Maris was the 2nd. 3rd.
They took Maris too. I mean, they took Maris.
I hear what they're saying. I guess I'm just not buying it.
No, and neither am I.
I'm not buying it.
And even too, like it's a projection at this point, right? You liked him in the draft, so you think, hey, let's develop him, right? Well, one, as we talked about, potential new coaching staff coming in next year, and 2, you only have 2 more years with this guy. When if you were to draft a guy, and I hear what you're saying that maybe there was a guy they wouldn't like in the 4th round. 1, we haven't even done a draft process yet.
Right. But
you could have 4 years to develop him.
4 years of control.
First of all, just because we haven't done a draft process, they got people doing it.
Well, they got insight on, but there's still a lot of time left in the draft process. I understand that, but there's a Senior Bowl, there's a combine.
Yes, but that's what killed me about the draft Knicks, because the media starts looking at the draft after the season. The team is looking at draft now. They're looking at players now. They're
scouting players.
Yeah, they're scouting players now.
But do you think that there's no potential draftable talents in the 4th round at wide receiver this year?
No, that's what I'm saying. They believe that possibly there's no potential one that has his size and speed profile that'd be better than him.
So what?
Considering
the same size and speed profile of Ryan Flournoy, though.
Stop it.
It's literally.
But Ryan Flournoy was a 7th round pick for a reason. This guy was a top 100 pick for a reason.
Who's done nothing for 2 years.
One of the things.
43 catches as a rookie. Ryan Flournoy.
By every advanced analytic, it was a negative production. Yeah.
So
we got old school, new school arguing right now.
I'll just go with you two. Let me go to you 2 old school guys because you guys have covered this Jerry since the 90s and whatnot. But they've always been fond of letting you know who else was bidding for somebody that they may have gotten.
Yeah, crickets.
You haven't heard anybody. Hey, you know what? 4 teams that were trying to get a hold. Mingo was. We had to offer this because other people. You hadn't heard that, and then of course, I just called some of my people and over Carolina, just check in with them, and they're like, dude, KP can't play. So that's sorry, man. It's just that's the thing that comes to me in mind. How many times have they love to tell you, who was looking after who? A lot of folks. Mari Cooper. Hey, a lot of people trying to get it. We had to offer the one because people want.
Listen, I've been screaming since last year about a big receiver, which is why I like the kid from Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. They don't, who obviously was coming off the suspension, because they don't have that size, speed profile, and Ryan Flournoy is not that. Anyway,
it's the same profile.
They don't have a 6'2", 220 big body receiver who can catch slants and take the ball down the field. He can catch the ball in traffic, all that sort of stuff. Now, whether this guy is that guy or not, but the size, speed profile, they need that big body receiver. That's what I've been looking for. That's what they need.
That's what Jalen Tobin is. Is he not?
But here's the Cowboys' offense. What do they need at receiver? They need someone who can separate ultimately, right? Their lack of separation is a huge problem.
Gonna scheme nobody.
Well, they need a scheme that's going to separate. I mean, I think it's cute. It's nice to say they don't have anybody to separate, but most of these teams, the scheme is separated.
No, 100%.
I mean, I look at all the plays. The guys are making wide. They're wide open. Guys against the Cowboys. Atlanta didn't have nobody to separate. They just beat them.
He ran a pick play.
He ran a pick play. They're schemed open. Okay, it wasn't like nobody just running. Just running off from somebody. Most cornerbacks running 4-4. Okay, so it's you're just not going. There are only a few handful of 4-2 guys on the planet. Okay, so you're gonna have to scheme people open anyway. And so that's part of it. But I want a guy, which the Cowboys don't have, making tough catches in traffic. I'm tired of throwing slants and comebacks to Kevontae Turpin and my boy Brandon Cooks.
and that's fair, yeah. So, that's fair.
For fans, is Mingo playing on Sunday?
Yeah, he wasn't out there today.
He didn't practice today. I don't know how he plays on Sunday.
So I don't think he can.
So he gave up a 4
It's for next year. This is about next. This ain't about this year. I don't care what they say. This is not about.
Even though every other receiver got traded for the break.
Even Jerry, even though we're trying to win now, and you're going to see us do something, we got to win. This ain't about winning now.
It's a trade you make after you've lost 3 games in a row and are 3-5.
And you lost your quarterback.
And you lost your quarterback.
And you do something to take some attention.
But you do something to say, hey, we did something.
So we should expect to see him against Houston then?
I suppose. You got a whole 7 day, it's a Monday night game.
I mean, it ain't that complicated. Route tree ain't got but 9 routes on him.
Yeah, but you got adjustments and, different things. You got to learn offense.
I saw your boy from Tennessee catch 2 touchdown passes this week. He just been there a week.
He's a veteran.
He's a veteran.
And that was his second game. That's the second game with Kansas City. That wasn't his first game.
All right.
He didn't catch 2 touchdowns this first week. Amari Cooper caught a touchdown pass his first game because he been hurt.
So we'll all agree that the Panthers won this trade so far initially?
On paper, of course. There's no question about that.
But you got to give it 2 years.
But every trade's an economy thing, right? It wasn't worth a 4th round pick.
Speaking of 4th round picks, that's what they gave up for Trey Lance. Will the quarterback get an opportunity to play? Let's pontificate on that next with Clarence Hill, Joe Hoyt, Jacques Taylor. I'm Newy Scruggs. It's Media Mash on DallasCowboys.com.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Raising Cane's presents the other rules of football. Rule 1, any broadcast without the express addition of cooked-to-order Cane's chicken fingers is prohibited. Rule 12, no crinkle-cut fries, Texas toast, or craveable Cane sauce constitutes an illegal formation. And Rule 31, anybody who loves to feed their game face is an eligible receiver of Cane's. When it comes to winning game day, Cane's rules. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love. Go Cowboys.
Drawback finds Pearson. It's caught. Touchdown.
The Dallas Morning News delivers full press coverage of the Cowboys.
Aikman straight drop, throws it over the middle. Irvin in for the touchdown, Cowboys.
We cover your Cowboys from the preseason to the postseason and beyond.
Boot to the right. Looking down the field. Lamb. Victory.
Game by game, play by play. No one delivers your Cowboys like the Dallas Morning News. Connect deeper to the Dallas Cowboys with the Dallas Morning News.
Hey, Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/Cowboys to get started.
Back to Media Mash.
All right, Media Mash, brought to you by nobody, right here on DallasCowboys.com. Got onto a Twitter debate with a Cowboys computer, and he's all about Mr. Mingo.
He's debating with computer.
He's all about Mr.
Just
Mingo.
because he played with Ole Miss on video game don't mean he worth anything.
He said, watch his college tape.
Like I said.
He says, do you have any faith in Will McClay? Damn, give the brother a chance. Mingo can ball. And I said, college glory fades fast in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he said, are you going to give him a chance or trust Will or not? So it's been 2 years.
When you asked Mike McCarthy today what went wrong in Carolina, he's like, I can't tell you.
Yeah,
I died. He was just like, I can't tell you. I died.
But you watched the tape.
That's what I'm saying.
Y'all watched the tape. And they still
And you saw
drafted
Ryan Flournoy 2.0.
They watched the tape of the guy, and they still felt good about the guy they saw on tape in college.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. They did watch the tape.
No, 100%. Yeah.
I'm saying they. So you may not know they talked about the offense, whatever else in Carolina, the quarterbacks and different systems,
And
but they still watched the tape of the guy in Carolina compared to the guy they saw in college on tape, who came in for a 30 visit, who was on their board as a second or third round pick, and they decided to pull the trigger.
Okay, Clarence Hill. All City Dallas, Joe Hoyt, All City Dallas, the author, Jean-Jacques Taylor, I'm Newy Scruggs. So Cooper Rush will start since Dak Prescott is out this week with a hamstring injury. Trey Lance is now the backup quarterback. I suggested that if the Cowboys end up losing the next 2 games, you got Philadelphia at home, so I won a home game this year. Then here come the Houston Texans. Would it be time, and it's nothing against Cooper Rush. You know who Cooper Rush is. Would it be time to figure out what Trey Lance is?
Now you're assuming that they don't know what Trey Lance is after that raggedy Rudy Poop preseason.
Preseason is one thing, regular season games are another.
And maybe he took a step in the preseason. He can continue to take a step in the regular season. But it's a legitimate question, but the answer right now is the Cowboys are still trying to win games. And it's unfair to the other guys to start putting guys in for development to see what they got when you still got 9 games left in the season. That's just not happening. After Thanksgiving, we'll see. Okay. But we talked. I asked Mike about that today. I said, here's a guy you traded a 4th round pick for. He's out of contract. Do you have to balance the fact that we need to find out what this guy is, before the end of the season before we let him walk, and we invested so much in him, and just says Cooper Rush's time. He's up next. He's the quarterback. We're trying to win games. It's in season. He also poo-pooed the idea of putting in packages for Trey Lance, on certain situations. It's a short week. You got Thanksgiving coming up, a short week. It's about doing everything they can to get guys ready to play. Now, again, after Thanksgiving, and we see where they are record-wise, Dak's coming back. I doubt if Dak's coming back, they're not going to play Dak, if that's the case. And so you have all of that up. But he also talked about the fact that, in which Tom Brady talked about, these quarterbacks just aren't ready. Here's a guy who did not throw the ball. He said that many times in training camp. Yes, he got a lot of reps in training camp. But he talked many times in training camp about Trey Lance not having enough snaps in college. And a lot of these quarterbacks come in, you have to have a certain amount of snaps, certain amount of threshold. He said, I would recommend quarterbacks stay longer in college to get those snaps, get those reps. Because this is not a time to develop. You can't get those snaps in the NFL. Preseason don't count. Those live reps are so invaluable. Yeah. And he didn't have enough. And you look at many of the guys that have failed did not have a lot of reps. They did not have a lot of snaps in college, and Trey Lance is part of that. And then you come into your different system in college. You go to a different system in San Francisco. Then you come here and have to reteach him a different system, even though it's quote-unquote the West Coast offense. He talked about how they had to reteach his footwork and their passing. Everything is different. It's unfair to the rest of the teammates to get a guy like that and try to teach him and develop him in the middle of a season.
Now, see, I think that's a great point, because I think what will happen is with NIL money, more quarterbacks will stay in school 100%. And get developed and get those snaps in college where it's a more forgiving landscape where you can come to the NFL maybe having thrown 1,200 passes, 1,300 passes. And that's one of the good things about, just staying that extra year. And if you got, like Carson Beck, who hadn't been good this year, you're already making 7 digits. Stay another year at Georgia. Mm-hmm. And develop and have one of those seasons where you throw 39 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
Joe, Mike said Monday he needs to play.
Yeah.
So
but I don't need to get fired while you playing.
Yeah, I mean he needs to play, but this is not the time.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep my job. I'm trying to get an extension, bro.
So I laid out the scenario. I didn't say play him today.
Yeah.
I didn't say okay.
Let me see which loss after which loss.
So you're 3-5.
Mm-hmm.
Lose to Philly, you're 3-6.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Lose to Houston, you're 3-7.
Right.
Here come the Commanders.
You don't want to start them on the road.
Okay.
So that's 3-8.
So
you're not going to start them on the show.
You're not going to start them on Salvation Army Day. That's 3-9.
It's a short week too.
December
I gave him a loss to the Giants. That's a pick'em game.
Okay. So the December to remember.
On the road, maybe against Carolina.
But Dak is coming back. Dak should be back by then. Huh?
But we're also talking about winning games here. The reason that we're going to go with Cooper Rush is because that gives them the best chance to win. What happens if against Philly, Cooper Rush throws 2 picks in the first 2 drives, and next thing you know they're down 14-0?
He'll get a chance to bring him back from 14-0. I mean, you're gonna put.
Or do we throw in a curveball there with someone?
No. The only way he comes in against Philly if it's 30-0. He ain't coming back. You're not putting him in at 14-0.
I don't.
I mean, right now,
you're not putting him in at 14.
This is Mr. Analytics, though. He got a reason for it.
What you're saying is a possibility from what we've seen this year at home.
Or 30-0, yeah, but 14-0, no.
Yeah, I mean that ain't crazy.
No, not at all.
That ain't crazy.
If it get to be blowout stats, you put him in there. But that's just to get him. That's more about keeping Cooper healthy than it is about Trey Lance, because those snaps ain't gonna mean nothing.
All right, so let me just bring this thing all the way home.
Yeah, bring it home.
Do we anticipate Trey Lance having any meaningful snaps in which they can make a judgment on about him as he goes into free agency?
On my birthday weekend, week 17.
Nope.
He may start the last game at the crib against Washington because they sitting all they starters because they done wrapped up the East. And the Cowboys got nothing to play for but a draft choice.
Also, if he plays well, he's going to be more expensive if you actually want to bring him back.
Stop it.
Do what?
If he plays well, if he goes hypothetically, if they put him in there and he starts and he goes on a run, right, and he hits free agency.
Let me tell you something, man, who is about to be married soon. Don't ever ask a hypothetical question. Don't ever answer one.
But what if?
Okay, first of all, more expensive for what?
More expensive than he would be if he just hit free agency and didn't play. If he went out and played well. Okay, it's a double-edged sword by playing him is what I'm saying.
To me, the double-edged sword is this. I mean, if you want to play him, because Cooper Rush is out of contract too.
100%.
Okay?
So they're going to need a backup quarterback.
You need a backup quarterback for next year. If you want to see him in developing your backup quarterback, it is what it is. But there's a ceiling on what backup quarterbacks cost. He's not going to be anybody's starter next year.
No, I didn't say that.
So therefore,
it's going to make $2 million.
He ain't going to make a lot of money as back. I don't care where he goes. There ain't going to be no bidding war for him as a backup quarterback. Maybe a bidding war for Cooper Rush. There ain't going to be no bidding war for him as a backup quarterback.
You're not saying if he went out there and played really, really well, that someone would be like, hey, that's the former 3rd overall pick that only had one starting season in college, had thrown more passes to Minnesota high schoolers than the NFL before this season.
Right. Sir, if it was a fifth, we'd both be drunk.
You're the one talking about Mingo being so...
I didn't say anything about Mingo. You see, y'all are misconstruing what I said about him. I said he's no Ryan Florida. Stop it.
Yeah.
That's all I
think his value would go up if he played well in free agency.
Go up to what?
Skinny as fat
higher.
Guy.
Higher to
It'd be
what?
higher. It'd be more expensive. That's what I said. I didn't say $20 million.
1.6 instead of 1.5.
Well, he's gonna get
more
gonna get 3 instead of 5.
Hey, that's a big difference here.
They got plenty of money. That's another lie. They got plenty of money.
They didn't show it.
All right.
Well, no.
You know what? Let's just end there.
We're gonna end it.
Let's end right there.
We're gonna end it. Me and Joe fighting. Put him up, boy.
I just think that's
this man's getting married this weekend, man. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
During football season.
During football season.
On a Saturday night during football season.
After the election.
Saturday night, does Oregon plays Oregon game? Y'all play this Saturday?
They play in Maryland. Yeah.
What time?
I don't know.
Late game.
You don't know what time the game is?
It's Maryland. It's Maryland.
I mean,
Don't be a 2%er, man. You're supposed to know when your team plays. You know,
I'm not.
Because the wedding's at night, right?
I'm very confident about Oregon against Maryland.
What time's the wedding?
At night.
Big Ten.
So
Big Ten after dark.
Is it a night game? Yeah. So we're gonna be getting married during the wedding?
I mean, first off,
are you working the Cowboys game on Sunday?
It's at Oregon, so it's automatically going to be a night game.
It's 6 p.m.
Wow. You're going to be walking down the aisle and Maryland's going to be scoring touchdowns.
Let's stop answering questions from this man before you say something.
He's not going to say nothing.
Clarence Hill, thank you very much.
I'm crashing the wedding.
Thank you very much.
I'm having a phone in the audience. Right. Touchdown, Maryland!
With liquor in his hand.
That's right, cash bar.
Joe,
it's open bar.
Good luck.
Thank you very
much. Cash bar. It's open bar, sir.
Good luck.
Oh, shoot. I might dust my suit off.
Send me a text. Scott Taylor, thank you. I will not crash your wedding.
I'll bring a baggie for some more dirt.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?